들어나 왔다. ramzong lama chola tawa yeso rita ta tang ramzong lama dine o de ramzong lama re tang sei lama di le ta mo ta ge o de lama mangbo yore sam de sam rita ta lama ta na si sa ji sam de yin sam de ni dong ge do le tawa ko cha chang tawa ko cha pa ta de lama ta na si sa ji sam de ha ko yore sei zokte telida sei lamade nang lamade nang ta ni te ba ta ta chidang dang ha nja wa nang lamade sa lamade chen ta wa to ko le lamade ta wa to de lamade lamani ni ji ka ka yo ma le lamade roma sen dang a se ke yin sa chu she ni de ke pe ge yo le de me 로마를 가까다 니까 시금 말인데 스자리다 로마들 진짜 시험에서 들으라고 너무 요래 이제 로또 송되니 로마 참치 내신이 뭐 요리 세게 하고는 simp지는 사제지 대일에서 뭐 들으라고 그러지 대일에서 이제 찍찍다 나서 찍이 막 하면은 삼티를 들어가더니 똑같이 참 가야지 다다 펜신 삼대이 삼대에 도어디 가지는 냠도 도어고 세물 지나면 주용도 하대 제 셈냠도 따디리 삼대이 용디 산속세 용디 고도 산속세 용디 제다 요나 그래서 요 고도 산속세 다기 니지 좋아요나 뭐 도어디 그 말아 지와 요래시 타로 보는 뭐 주용 셈냠도 따디리 그래서 요 동남은 이제 동남시 바데라 생문에서 니요 말이 생각하다고 하고서는 오들 라마다랑시 상제선 상제시 받에 따도는 상제 니진 상존들 생각하다고 차는 그 죽어난 거다고 내요 땅니 찍래 상들이 르빠르 끼는 되는 그 라마다랑시 상제도 제용 받는들이 제르들이 다가 랑종 라마들 세 라마들 라마시 상제선 찍래 돼对，然后那么长些上街生这个这个历史，这从刚刚没把介绍哈过说过的，这国外的，这国外是上不下头嘛，你们你谈我这个有什么有的，那么多那么子。
So, my friends, we said before, we spoke about the self-arisen Lama. So the self-arisen Lama. So when you understand that, then you will instantly know when you read that this my mind is the self-arisen Lama. Now, for meaning your own mind. So for a beginning practitioner, first there appears an outer external Lama, guru, and so for them. There are many different gurus, but actually, now it is said that the guru's mind, Lama's mind, your own mind, and the Buddha's mind are one. So, if you only understand this view, if you simply have an understanding of that those are actually one, the guru's mind, your own mind, and the Buddha's mind. If you only understand that, then you have gained a kind of a first real understanding. So, and that's very beneficial already. So first you see the outer Lama based on the outer body, and so you think that's the guru. And then you find the inner Lama. So there's outer, inner, and secret Lama. So first you see the outer Lama, and then the inner Lama is then when you sustain faith and a pure samaya and following the instructions, receiving the instructions from the guru, and then it goes into an inner level. And then the secret Lama or guru is actually your own mind. It is when you realize the nature of the mind, or the view. And then from that perspective, you see that there is no separation at all between the Lama and the disciple. So from the Lama's mind, for example, there is, from the Lama's perspective, for example, when the Lama gives teachings, then there is no division. The Lama knows that there is no separation, no dualistic, like a delineation between myself and the disciples whom I'm teaching. We are one. And so when the Lama gives teachings on the basis of that understanding, this knowing that we are actually one, then those teachings will be of actual benefit. So the Lama can give the same teachings, but if the Lama, for example, thinks, like, look at these disciples, they're just fools, they don't know anything, they're all like Westerners, they don't know anything, and so on. Then, of course, seeing them in that way actually will have less of an effect. Also, actually, it's a misconception. It's a wrong way of viewing them, because the Lama and the disciples' mind are actually one. So the Lama knows that those disciples that I'm teaching, they all possess Buddha nature, and he therefore speaks and teachings on the basis of knowing that Buddhas and sentient beings are actually Buddhas. So based on that knowledge, the Lama teaches. And so that is the ultimate way of having a connection between Guru and the disciple. So it's on the basis of this one basis. And even if one doesn't understand that, one can also establish the connection on the basis of love. This is also how we connect. For example, if there is a friend that you love very much, and if they're far away, and then you still, for example, tears come to your eyes, and it's still like you're together. And so when there is love between companions, then a sign of that love is that they can always stay together. That's a sign that the mind is together. So that's the quality of bodhicitta, or the relative bodhicitta. So that is for as long as there still is this feeling, this perception of a dualistic existence of self and other, then love is most important. For example, like when you think of somebody you love, they're far away, but actually your mind is still together, because a sign of that is the tears coming to your eyes. On the ultimate level, there really is no separation at all. There's no duality. And you know that if you understand the space-like nature of the mind. If you understand that the Guru's mind, your own mind, and the Buddha's mind are one. So the secret Guru is to understand, to realize the view, the natural state of the mind. And that is also seeing the Buddha within you. And so the Buddha is Sangye in Tibetan, and Sang means to have cleared away. When you see the natural state of the mind, dualistic grasping is cleared away, and the mind just abides like space. And that's the Dharmakaya. And the Dharmakaya is space-like by nature. And so when you have seen that, and then you hear those words, then even in the way of intellectually, you will understand this is really true. It totally makes sense that these three are actually one, the Guru, Buddha, and your own mind. So there is the outer, inner, and the secret Guru. And first we see the outer Guru, which is the outer body. But if you understand that actually those three are actually one, and then somebody tells you that, a real understanding, a real certainty in those words arises. And that certainty is without any doubts. So this kind of doubtless understanding arises. And this is the first understanding that you gain. And through this first understanding, you are already coming very close with the Guru. So that is very important.
귀행 대신에는 돈마다 코를 접촉질에 랍가네 대치다고 살아서 말세서 귀행되나 추지행되나 오 나이 님에봐 하고는 센든 나가다 차송에 얘는 추지행되는 혼자 이미 종제되래 오 추지행 나이 니지 용례 당 추지행 통구용만 최대한 혼자 이미 이제래 근데 좀 뭐라고 돌아지네 고차물이 이제 라면 되니 송때 추지행 기바지 세면 Zimbabwe, Gomjado, Dongsang Sundore, De Chujim, such a Namka, Bay Namkari, Nang Chujim Sin, Zimbabwe, Shantongotawa, Shargogami, De Chujim, such a Nang Chuji, Juba, Sendon Namka, Chemina, Somanari, Chebe Chari also, the Dragatango, Solitator in Gori, the key, the letter Cheshire Pojami, Udam Yansong. Sasangig Karami, the room or a Chapami, Tomi Shirazonga, Tomi Shivarazonga, Tomi, the move was the same top of me, now Hardy Shana, what they didn't know Shana until the move was daily, the Marisa Lotti or the Mother your Mary, the Mata, the data was told the Bacana until Gamzo, the choice, the Koto Karel told Torin, when the test of Charlie. The key Chudi in Tony Dewachibo Yoris, the Dewatum Ponjo Maricotri, Yeritri, Ponjo Meva Devatum, and Tato Tonang Devasum. Three Tata Niji Yoba Devatum, some Deva Tati Sepa, Deva Tamti, Tata Devari, Devi Dongeri, Devi Domezo, Dugay Devaso, Zori Segre. Dungeti Mira, the Ota Deva Dogte. Deati young Matabai, David young Dongays, David Dongazo, Dongays Devaso, Conny Mugenere, Tel Trapato, Tilly Deati Riachiboja, Couple goats, Dungate Mugo de Redodin, Three Children, Three Lesa, Pachajo, then Coatel Travel, Corrigato Children, Tsar Indi Miss of Sanatani, Niman Corrigan Mare, Dodo knew Quara. Oh, Nimer Semna Patawa, the Horton Hodi made get our taking the Indian and Tomada, Corridor Tartum, there is San Gian Koala Tardo or Edoji. They looked down on same corner Horton Hodi, but they have quarter. Then they come Coatum, the Rangan number Pak Chag leg and Podom, same gentleman, Ganyan wrong me body, Larissa Dimana. Wrong me by Aguchu and wrong music, young, Rotum, which is the Tawamato, Tapajo, or Dokora Jana. Oh, Tawa also turned wrong me by half or now I sent it from the theatre of Corey. The Larissa of Dimitri, check Jetty, and do the Lord, and he checked the check, do, didn't pour and mother, one on the penny, Corey jumped to the Tandro also, the Chita was Sarasabadi. 다들이라 문제인다. 무엇은 심마라 심마. 능리리 능리 말해지. 대기 심마는 뭐다 우민 탈의 용조신에서 말아버리 메라는 소문에. 뭐야 마상. 우미야 마상 가면 거 가는들이 남상남도 쳐달라변지. 좀 빠졌고 그래. 대답이 답고 나만은 저거래. 그 반대 반면에더니 대신 답고 살았어 말시에서 세분이로 통상 거더니 내가 뭐 Rami Musul, we don't know time need the Archimode. Probably half to ready.
Then the next verse, I gaze upon the Supreme Lama, who is meaningful to behold. The instant I behold that great bliss of Dharmadhatu across the vast ocean of samsara and arrive at the blissful pure ground. So first, Dharmadhatu, the great bliss of Dharmadhatu. So the Dharmadhatu, or the space, a basic space of phenomena. Dharmadhatu is the space that one realizes the Dharmadhatu, when one realizes that self and other are indivisible. It's the space-like mind. It is the source of samsara and nirvana. For as long as there is a dualistic perception of self and other, one has not yet seen the Dharmadhatu. So the Dharmadhatu is the basis, the ground from which samsara and nirvana arise. If you read the Samantabhadra prayer, often you will gain an understanding of this point. In that prayer it says, there is a single ground, yet two paths and two fruitions. So the Dharmadhatu is the state where there is no grasping in the mind. For example, when you meditate, there is a moment where the mind becomes completely empty, and that's the Dharma Dhatu. The Dharma Dhatu is like space. So the outer Dharma Dhatu, the outer aspect of Dharma Dhatu is like space. And the inner Dharma Dhatu is to not grasp, to see the view of Vipassana, this special insight. There is actually no difference between the outer and the inner Dharma Dhatu. Or Milarepa also said, there is no difference between space and the mind. So seeing the Dharma Dhatu, this is that there is no difference between space and mind. That is the beginning of realizing that view of freedom from elaboration. So this is where this understanding of freedom from elaboration comes from. So then it says it is blissful, the great bliss of the Dharma Dhatu. And that bliss is an unchanging bliss. Again, in the Samantabhadra prayer, it says, even if the three worlds were to be destroyed, there is no fear. There is no attachment to the five desirables of the senses. That is when you hold on to, you relax within the primordial state of awareness. So there is no grasping, no thought of anything possessing a true, concrete, actual existence. And still, even though any phenomenon of samsara and nirvana appears, there is no thought thinking, oh, this is what that is, and that's what it is not. It's not like this. It's not this, and so on. So these are all thoughts grasping at the truth of something. So there's no such a thought, and one sees all appearances as illusions. So that is to a person who has realized the view, has realized the Dharma Dhatu. For such a person, anything that arises, they're content with it. Anything is fine. There is no difference. Whatever arises appears as great bliss. So that is when one has seen Dharma Dhatu, the nature of Dharma Dhatu is very blissful, is great bliss. And this is unlike the ordinary bliss. This bliss is unchanging bliss. It's the ultimate bliss. It's different than the dualistic ordinary bliss that we experience. The ordinary dualistic bliss is, as it is said in the 37 practices, like a dewdrop on the tip of a blade of grass. So it appears as happiness, as bliss, and then again it changes into suffering. So actually, bliss and suffering, happiness and suffering, they produce one another. So you experience, so first there's happiness, and that turns into suffering. And then from suffering arises bliss and so on, or happiness. For example, the absence of suffering is what we label as bliss or happiness. And then you have that happiness, but again, it's impermanent. It changes, and then again, it turns into suffering. And so in this way, they take turns. And so that is what we call confusion. There is hope and fear in the mind. One always hopes, one always wants to be happy and blissful. And then if one is blissful and happy, one always wants to be that and have that. One doesn't want to let go of it, because one doesn't want to suffer. I don't want to suffer. So in this way, we are stuck between hope and fear. And in this way, hope and fear grow stronger and stronger. And as they grow, we continue to accumulate karma, which create more and more karmic imprints, which then cause us to wander in samsara. These imprints are what creates samsara, this mountain of samsara, or this vast ocean of samsara. So the reason why we wander in samsara is because there is duality. So you can only really go around if there are two, one going around somewhere. But if there is no two, no duality, there is nothing that goes around, nothing that wanders. There's no one who wanders if there is no two. There is no wandering and nowhere to wander in the space-like nature of the mind. And so that realization is the liberation from samsara. It is when all these dualistic thoughts are cleared away, when one has seen the view or the natural state of the mind. Not seeing this view is what we call samsara, wandering around in this dualistic existence, temporarily, due to our karmic imprints, which are created by our afflictive emotions. But on the basis, they don't actually exist. So in the 37 practices, it also says in the beginning, like Shinrezik and so on, they have realized that phenomena neither come nor go. And even though they have realized that, they strive single-pointedly for the sake of sentient beings. So those who have not realized the view, they always go around in circles in the 6 realms of samsara. To those who have realized the view, there is no coming and going. And to them, all appearance is nothing but the magical display of the mind itself. It's very beneficial to read those verses of the 37 practices out loud. That really helps your understanding of each of those verses. So it says here, you get this, you behold in an instant this great bliss of the Dharmadhatu. So you behold this Dharmadhatu at a time when there is no more grasping at a true reality. So a grasping at a concrete existence of appearances and one's concepts in the mind is when you think that it's true, that's how it is, or this is not true, this is not what it is, it's not that, and so on. That is actually also explained in the mandala offering of Milarepa. Now, as application that to become liberated from these extremes of holding things to be true or untrue. So seeing the Dharmadhatu, abiding in the Dharmadhatu, there is no thought of either something being true or not true. All of such thoughts have dissipated into the ocean-like mind itself. And even though appearances manifest, they manifest within this state of non-duality. There is no thought with regard to those appearances. So sustaining that state, the natural state of the mind, is extremely blissful. That is great bliss. And so this is actually something that even can make sense on a logical level when you think about it. When you rest in the natural state of the mind without any such thoughts, it really is a very blissful state. You can know that, you can understand that just by looking at your own activities and the state of your mind in those activities.
대변인들이 감성 감을 소선에서 제지 통화 동요라만 총다 다시 도와줘 다시 갈 거래 다시 세 많이 거지 정말 좀 개별 하면 잡아서 돈 주인만 말달라 다시 말하죠 쫄람 탐지라 니모를 아주 소화지 제가니 제시대가 하고니 다시 집에 소화지 드라마 봤더니 다 자르시나 다 자르 좋아하는 이들이 그래서 세고들은 대님부 소화 드라마가 타서 어떤 탐지 다 주소네 something in the battery. There is rank to marry, send now what I was chatting on the rank to put in rank to marry, lead it to quality, now you what all the Solomon. Triple try you some years only. Can't that get that or some year, some of them try you some years over. Ma the chicken my sons. Then I need to come from some day with a several year now. It is the Toa to you. 동 탐지는 가보비야 동물에 삭제지 기와 까빠빠도 삭바에 사미 기와 끄찍찍 삭바 필무체 송 사미 기와 사시 걸망이 사미 기와 사기 오 강마제 대열 말에 다디 뭐다다주뭐통 터지 오뉴뭐다 대선 정들이 다또 뭐봐 검또 왔다 생이서 따공주도 뒤쪽들이 산도 그요래 진짜 성공은 나디 뒤쪽을 탕길해야 돼 나디 상거리에서 이 따와대세도 많은 내용은 나디 남편 될 상거리에서 뒤따뜻한 사람 상조고 주로는 말아 이들 맛이 싸우는들이 내가 따뜻한 찾기 약속된 시부터 이제요래 나를 놓쳐서 공부해 따뜻한 일을 저 앞에 다른 못 적응도 따뜻한 가래다 아니고 그런 가래 잡두기 제지 다 그런데 Charlie interpreted to know the little what they did, Chobarete.
Then the last line here in the Tibetan, which is the first line in English. So, I gaze upon the Supreme Lama who is meaningful to behold. Often when we recite prayers, we come across one line that says, the twofold purpose of self and others is accomplished, and so on. And so the twofold purpose is accomplished simultaneously at the same moment from an ultimate perspective. So the one purpose is the purpose of oneself, which is the seizing of the kingdom of the Dharmakaya, the royal seat of the Dharmakaya. And then the second purpose is the purpose of others. And for the sake of others, one manifests form emanations to empty samsara. So these two purposes of self and others are accomplished simultaneously. So these are, in brief, the meaningful activities of samsara and nirvana accomplished in a single moment. In a single moment of realizing the natural state of the mind. And that, of course, needs to be habituated for a long time. There is one quote by the Buddha that I've seen in the Great Liberation Sutra, where the Buddha spoke about the benefits of meditation, of dwelling in the state of samadhi, of meditative absorption. And when I read this line, ever since I encountered this quote by the Buddha, I really understood the benefits of meditation and really learned that it is something I can practice continuously, even if I have time only for 5 minutes or even just 1 minute. I meditate during this time, ever since I came across this quote. So the quote says, "It is of a greater benefit to spend a single session in meditation than it is to save the lives of all sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara." So we want to protect the lives of all sentient beings. We want to protect all beings in the 3 realms of samsara. We want to bring them happiness. No one knows how to do that, how to benefit them all. But when you rest within the natural state of the mind, you are pervading them all, because your mind pervades all of samsara and nirvana at the same time. And that is why also at the same time as you're benefiting those beings, you are also making offerings to all the Buddhas dwelling in the Pure Lands of the 10 directions. So this is possible on the basis of such a meditative state, which is also based on motivation of bodhicitta. And so speaking of those 3 worlds of samsaric existence, these are not small, and they are endless. There's actually no state of samsara that is not included within those 3 samsaric existences. So here it says this term meaningful, the guru who is meaningful to behold. So what is meaningful? What am I supposed to do? What meaningful thing? Do not be distracted. In the 7 verses of supplication to Tara for protection, there's a supplication to the Mother Goddess of mindfulness. Never separate from your mindfulness. Do not be distracted. And then if you are undistracted, then also in your day-to-day activities, when all sorts of ordinary afflictive emotions and all kinds of feelings arise, you will recognize them with mindfulness. And then recognizing them with mindfulness, the feeling will disappear without leaving a trace behind. For example, it's just like a lunar eclipse when we say that Rahu swallows the moon. In that instant where the moon kind of disappears, it is gone without a trace, and then it reappears again. So that is the power, anyways, of just a single session of meditation. And so it's not just you alone, actually. First of all, your mind is vast like space. And then also regarding your body, it's not just you alone there in your body. It's not that there's just this me, I am this body, this one solid thing. But actually the Buddha had said that within your body there are like 1,200,000 different kinds of microorganisms, different life forms. And when one person realizes the view, when one person attains enlightenment, then all these microorganisms also attain enlightenment together. So don't think this is just me, that's me, and it's only me. And then also, now speaking about the sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara, we pervade them with the 4 immeasurables and love and so forth. And then regarding the ultimate, Gampopa had said that it is a greater benefit to practice an undefiled virtue for one single moment than it is to practice defiled virtue for aeons. So nobody really knows how to accumulate this undefiled virtue. So we think we are accumulating undefiled virtue. We think I know how to accumulate undefiled virtue. I'm accumulating it, but then just thinking that and then not really doing anything, that is really of not much use. So how to really accumulate this undefiled virtue is, as we mentioned before, first by determining with certainty the view, the natural state of the mind, then to habituate it through experiencing it through meditation practice, through actual practice, and then in the end perfecting it in your conduct, your day-to-day activities, where you perfect it by through the practice of one taste or equal taste. So it is through these 3 that this undefiled virtue is accomplished, through the realization of the view, the habituation, and the actual experience gained in practice, and then the perfection of that in the conduct. Jigten Sungen also said that the 5-fold path of Mahamudra is included within a single session. also, that means that when you only abide within the view, the natural state of the mind, within that abiding, the fivefold path is actually complete. So for today, Dharma friends, I will stop the teachings, and which I shared to you as well as I could. And also, there are many things that I don't know. So you have this excellent opportunity now to ask questions to Khenpo Tenzin, who is here. And now I don't have to go far and wide here and there to have questions answered. So without any difficulties, you have him here, and he is working really very hard, and he's doing his very best to fulfill everyone's request. So he's answering all the questions that he receives. So if you have any questions, so please ask Khenpo Tenzin.
Back to the sadhana on page 7. At the end of the session, the universe and beings melt into light and are absorbed into myself. I then melt into light and dissolve into the Hri. The Hri subsides into the natural state devoid of thoughts. I rest in it as long as it remains. When thoughts proliferate anew, I manifest again as the exalted Lord.
yo bai nan je jab te nian bo ye ge zhou men yo war yo oi ma ne be me wan le jian zhe bai ba ma lo bo tai nian dun dun roi rui jian dui bai na gong bo jie re zui jie la na zhou ne wai jian de war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui de lai de ne jia dan mo san jie ne doi zhao gui zi lin du de na gong bo jie re zi jie la na zhou de wai jian de jie war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui ma jie je be jian da zhen jie nai mei jie song bei jian dai bo mo na gong bo jie re zui jie la na zhou de wai jian de jie war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui ge zong do de lam gen de go ge le de ze den be san jie na gong bo jie re zui jie la na zhou de wai jian de jie war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui de jiu jia lo ban da men en jie zhe mi yo jun en san jiao wai na gong bo jie re zui jie la na zhou de wai jian de jie war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui me ge jia dan za me a bo dai de dai nian ai jue bei len e na gong bo jie re zui jie la na zhou de wai jian de jie war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui ngo ye jia mo la na jian ba dai xin bu se ge lang bu zhen de nam gong bo jie re zui jie la na zhou de wai jian de jie war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui xie wai na be de da me ge duan jie de kam jie zhen de ma le ba gong bo jie re zui jie la na zhou de wai jian de jie war jian jie lo oi ma ne be me wan rui zhe xie mo xie la ro Choro soe ge me de me pardon jamba na gombo jere se je lam na zhon de wa jen de je war jen je la o ma ne be me wan re wo yuan dong be man zhe zhen jian dai xia zhe su be sen jie ma le ba gong bo jie re se jie la na zhuan de wai jian de jie war xian jie lao oi ma ne be me wan re me jo ka ga zhong ba xuan xian doi men zhuo na bo me se me ba na gong bo jie re se jie la na zhuan de wai jian de jie war xian jie lao oi ma ne be me wan re wo zan kam zan a re zang be le de jie le zang le de nie wo nam gong bo jie re se jie la na zhuan de wai jian de jie war xian jie lao oi ma ne be me wan re yong wai jian bo nga la ne jie de zui jie zui me cha ra sen jie na gong bo jie re se jie la na zhuan de wai jian de jie war xian jie lao oi ma ne be me wan re nyar wai ye dai dan zhou la ma ye la me la zui kan zui sen jie na gong bo jie re se jie la na zhuan de wai jian de jie war xian jie lao oi ma ne be me wan re chuo jue xian gang a ram jia ta le de jie ding ba ga ve sen jie nam gong bo jie re se jie la na zhuan de wai jian de jie war xian jie lao oi ma ne be me wan re o wang ba za za do za ma ya ma ne ba la ya ba za za do de no ba ti zhan zhe zhou me ma wa su de ga yo me ma wa su be ga yo me ma wa an ra do me ba wa sa wa se de man ba ya za sa wa ga ma su za me zi dam ye yam gu ro wong ha 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 hui bang ga wen sarva da da ga da ba za ma me mun za ba za ba wa ma sam ma ya za do a.
Page 11 in the red Chenrezig Sadhana.
Ra 玛尼拉萨维多索红来文之拉玛人真扎瓦孙杰托举个当杰真的巴达尔卷见了王哥我这所见这来这巴就。
From the life force, the home at the heart of myself manifest as the deity, light radiates, imploring the gurus, knowledge holders, and the three roots mind streams. When every one of them has come like gathered clouds, blessing, empowerment, and cities are bestowed and activities are accomplished. Hom Hri. From the very state that is completely pure and free of elaboration appear the principle and retinue self-dynamism of unhalting compassion. Send down upon this place the resplendence of your body, speech, and mind, and grant the 5 wisdoms supreme empowerment.
Man beme hon re ma gar nega sarva samaya man beme hon re man
Everybody joining us on the live stream, thank you.
Please remember to post your mantra accumulations on garchin.net on the event page, and we will all continue to recite the mantra as much as possible, and join us for our afternoon practice session starting at 3 p.m. Arizona time. Thank you.